Hello everyone, this is Robert from Black Belt Gaming. As some of you may have seen on a previous update on my channel, I'm hoping to do a playthrough of the Star Trek Expeditions board game. Whether that will be a partial or a complete playthrough, I haven't really decided yet, but I thought it might be a good time to show you a few of the components that I'll be using in the game. This is a cooperative board game for 1 to 4 players. I think maybe with the expansion it's up to 5 players. But the situation is there is a planet. The Enterprise is in orbit around this planet. And your mission there is to have discussions with the Nibian government about the possibility of them joining the United Federation of Planets. But you soon discovered that the Klingons are also interested in Nibia, and you sort of start competing against their efforts to claim Nibia as their own. So let me start by showing you the 2 starships. The first one here is the Enterprise. And this is a fine looking model. It's nicely painted, as you can see. And down here you can see the different numbers and symbols. You've got the first number there. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. The first number there is shields, the defense for the ship. Then you have long-range weapons. The phasers are next, and then you've got the torpedoes last. So they're going to be your close-range weapon. So it looks like you basically start out with 9 values of 9, 7, and 8. Well, let's compare this with the Klingon vessel. Well, here is the Klingon ship that's also in orbit around Nibia, and you will be encountering it probably sooner rather than later as you go through the game. Also, a fine looking model, nicely painted and sculpted. And then let's take a look at the Klingons' statistics. Well, where the Enterprise was at 9, the Klingon vessel here is at 13, so its defenses are quite a bit higher. The long-range weapons are not quite as powerful, so the phasers on the Enterprise are superior by a single point. But the close-range weapons outclass the Enterprise by 1 point. But the main thing is trying to get through those Klingon defenses. So basically it's a lot easier for the Klingon vessel to damage the Enterprise. So in the course of the game there are ways to work to upgrade the Enterprise, and I think it's highly advised that you do that as quickly as possible, because if the Enterprise gets destroyed by the Klingon vessel, then your game is, I believe it's over. So if you destroy the Klingon vessel, then you continue playing and try to complete all of your missions and get the best score that you can. Well, let's take a look at some of the crew. Well, let's start with Captain Kirk. His primary abilities here are diplomacy and combat. That means in different missions, any that have a keyword diplomacy or combat, he's going to get a +2 bonus. And down here as a special ability, you can spend an action to transfer 1 crew member between you and any other player. So he's good at sort of barking orders or delegating responsibilities out to other crew and sending them around where they're needed. Here's his figure. You know, there's not a incredible likeness here, but it's a nice looking figure nonetheless. Statistics, I believe this is, what is that? Command, science, and operations, or is it? I think I need to review that myself. Just a moment. Just double checked. That is correct. Command, science, and operations. So he's very strong in the area of command, decent in science, and pretty well skilled in operations such as engineering and other types of things. So there's Captain Kirk. Next we have Mr. Spock, the science and first officer. His abilities are analysis and engineering, so he's going to get a bonus in either one of those areas. And he can spend an action to look at a face-down card in any one location, then return it face down. So basically he can scan an area. And when you play the game, you've got these face-down cards on these different spaces that you'll need to travel to. By using his ability, you can have an idea of what you're heading into, what type of mission you're going to go on. Here's his figure. I really like his pose here. It reminds me a lot of the character from the original series. So there's our Mr. Spock. Let's take a look. Command is at 9, science 11, and operations 7. So definitely skilled in the area of science, as he should be. So there's good old Spock. Dr. McCoy, the Chief Medical Officer. His keywords are a bit interesting here. I don't see this on any other character card where they have the same keyword repeated twice. But he's got medical, so when these come into play, he's not only going to get +2, it's going to go to +4 because he has it 2 times. He can use an action to heal a character in his location a number of clicks or turns of the dial equal to what he rolls on a white die, and that's basically a 6-sided die. So he can heal you quite a bit, especially on a good roll. Here's his figure. As you play the game and take damage, you sort of turn this dial and it will affect your statistics. You'll get a little weaker and weaker and weaker as you go along. And as you heal, you can be brought back up to full power. Command is 8, science is 10, operations 8. And you know, once you were down to here, you're pretty much out. So there we go. There's Dr. McCoy. Uhura is next, or Uhura, communications officer. She's got communications and then a second keyword, stealth. For an action, she can draw one energized card and keep it or give it to any other player. So this actually becomes quite useful in the game. Energized cards allow you to take different actions and accomplish different things and help prepare you for your missions. So with her ability to draw a card on her turn and send that card to another party member that really needs it, that's quite useful. So she is a good person to have on the team with you. Here's her figure, kind of in an action pose there with a phaser in her hand. And command is 7, Now these are their maximum values here. Command at 7, Science 9, Operations are higher at 10. I also managed to pick up the expansion for this, which I thought would kind of complete the crew. We've got Chekhov with Analysis and Transportation. His action allows you to transfer a discovery token between you and any other player. A discovery token might be some sort of technological upgrade for the Enterprise, or some other bit of evidence, or an artifact, many different things that you might find on the planet. Here are Chekhov's scores, a 9, 9, and 10. Next we have Sulu. Sulu's the helmsman. He's got combat and stealth. He has a special ability here. For one action, he can copy a skill from a character or crew card at your location until the end of the turn. So if someone else has a keyword here, a skill that he would like to be able to copy, as long as he's with you there in that location, he can, let's say he needed something in engineering. If he was there with Mr. Scott here, he might be able to make use of the engineering skill as long as he's with Mr. Scott. So he's a good support character. He can become stronger when he's on a location with someone else. As many of you may know from the original series, Mr. Sulu was a fencer. He knew how to use a sword very well, and did so in the new movie. His abilities 9, 8, 9. Finally, Mr. Scott, the chief engineer, engineering and transportation. For one action, for your beam action, beam up or down another character to or from any location. So he can not only beam himself around, as all the characters can do, but he can beam other characters, which is nice. So here's his figure. He's obviously in the middle of fixing something. You can see sort of a tool there in his hand. 7, 10, 11. So pretty good numbers there for Mr. Scott. And all of the cards, look at the thickness of that. It's quite nice. This game has really, really nice heavy-duty components. And that's true with the ones that came in the original game, not just the expansion. So, I hope you've enjoyed seeing some of these this evening, and I'll show you some more of Star Trek in the near future. Thanks for joining me.